Morning, everybody. First of all, I must thank Donald for inviting me to share at today's Chinachem Group Sustainability Conference 2023. My sharing today will be promote sustainable development, striving towards carbon neutrality. Let me get hold of how to use this PowerPoint. Okay. Climate action, climate action is one of the 17 sustainable development goal, which global leaders has adopted in the 2015 UN summit. And for Hong Kong, our ambitions is to achieve carbon neutrality before 2050. Some of you may want to ask, why carbon neutrality? Why is it relevant with the sustainable development of the construction or building industry? Let me start with the extreme weather, which a lot of speakers will touch on. In just the summer we passed, it is according to the World Meteorological Organization, it's the hottest summer we experienced around the world in our record history. The sea surface temperature is also unprecedentedly high in this summer. And apart from the hot summer, apart from the rising temperature, apart from this global warming, actually there are more extreme events, climate events, including super typhoon and flooding and rainstorms. And this is becoming more frequent. So just in the past few months, many of us may be aware that there are a lot of severe flooding events across different parts of the world, including Hong Kong and Beijing in the Asia, Libya in the Middle East, as well as New York City in the North America. In Hong Kong, as the Secretary of Development has touched on, we have a record high annual hourly rainfall of 150 millimeters. And also, we record over 600 millimeters in just rainfall in just 24 hours. So some of you may wonder, how big is it? How large is it? 600 millimeters. I asked some friends in the Hong Kong Observatory. It's more than the annual rainfall of some renowned cities such as Melbourne, and one more, New York City. So we had the rainfall in just one day against those annual rainfall in other cities. So international scientists has come to the consensus that, one, extreme weather is related with climate change. Two, if we don't want to experience more extreme climate scenario, we need to act now. We need to achieve carbon neutrality around the middle of this century. And number three, if we don't invest in carbon neutrality nowadays, we need to pay for even more in remediation, in recovery of the damage we will be facing in these extreme weather events. To combat global climate change, the Paris Agreement was adopted by nearly 200 countries in 2015. It was the first ever universal legally binding global climate deal, aiming to curb the global warming to 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius as compared with pre-industrial level. Under the Paris Agreement, individual countries has to contribute to the carbon neutrality target what we term the NDC, National Determined Contribution. To meet this obligation under the Paris Agreement, China aims to A, have the carbon emission peak before 2030 and achieve carbon neutrality before 2060. And in Hong Kong, to tie in with this national dual carbon goal, we are striving towards meeting the carbon neutrality before 2050. And we have another interim goal is to cut half of our emission by 2035. As mentioned before, the building industry has a vital contribution to our global carbon emission footprint. It represents about the building stock represent about 40% of the global building carbon emissions. So any action from the building industry would be important in terms of realizing this carbon neutral pathway in a city as well as around the world. Apart from contribution towards carbon neutrality, I must emphasize that the building industry is also facing with challenges and risks associated with climate change. And this risk will compose of two parts: the physical risk, which many of us experience or know about it, and the other one is transition risk. I will talk more about transition risk today. For the physical risk, it will be associated with the more frequent extreme weather, which disrupt our supply chain, increase the cost of building material and insurance, and bring more difficulties to complete building project on time. And for the transition risk, it's actually evolving from the change of technologies and market demand. It's also evolved from the change of standard and regulation, which is the game plan or the rules of the game of the building industry. And I want to highlight that, and many of us know that if we are not acting enough to combat or to address the climate risk, individual corporations will be facing with problem in raising finance for their new building project. Yes. To transform Hong Kong into a green city, the government has been taking lead in adopting of low carbon and sustainable technologies in building projects. In the following slides, I will just quote some examples. This is the Kowloon East and Kai Tak development area. This is one of the first new development area we built in Hong Kong, which adopt the kind of smart, green, and resilient concept. It promotes the development or the development of green buildings to realize the kind of carbon reduction in the whole development area. For government project, we adopt low carbon designs to reduce the carbon footprint, and for private sector project, we introduce the kind of land lease measures to promote, to encourage the private sector to develop green buildings. And as of middle of this year, I think around 70 projects in this area has already been certified with by Green Building Council. Apart from the development of energy efficient buildings, the provision of smart and green infrastructure is also important in taking forward the whole district in reducing its carbon footprint. For this Kowloon East area, this is the first district we provide with district cooling system. District cooling system is 35% more energy efficient than traditional air-cooled central air conditioning system. And more importantly, the adoption of district cooling system also reduces the overall installing capacity required for the whole districts. And this reduces the amount of material, the space required for the provision of aircon in the area. With the adoption of other environmental features in this district cooling system, the project has additional gain. Beyond the KTAC area, this is another example about low carbon or green building. We heard about the adoption of MIC, modular integrated construction, in a lot of projects nowadays, but this one was completed in 2021. This was the first government project to adopt MIC in high-rise building. It was the merited quarters of the FSD in Zhengguan area. By now, we will be seeing more construction building projects adopting MIC. When mentioning green infrastructure, I must mention about this OPAC 2. OPAC 2 is a kind of facility, waste-to-energy facility for the treatment of food waste in Hong Kong. Many friends know that food waste account for around 30% of our waste produced every day in Hong Kong. And this project is more than just treating the waste to reduce our carbon footprint in waste. It's also the first project with an aim to achieve carbon neutrality during the construction. It adopts a lot of innovative carbon reduction measures in the design and construction of the project, including the use of carbon fixation bricks based on carbon capture and utilization storage technologies. It also used fiber or iron modified cement for the construction. It used DFMA and MIC to reduce the carbon footprint to minimize the energy used. To manage the low carbon transition in the building industry, I would encourage everybody in the industry to understand more about climate strategies in Hong Kong. And those in the following slide, I will touch a bit on the climate strategies we are adopting in Hong Kong. This is the climate action plan we published in October 2021. It set out 4 deep decarbonization strategy for Hong Kong to tackle the major source of carbon emission in Hong Kong, including power generation, transport, and waste disposal. And the 4 strategies are named here as net zero electricity generation, energy saving and green building, green transport, and waste reduction. I would like to highlight that for the building industry, all these 4 strategies are relevant. It's one of the kind of industry I can find in Hong Kong which has all these 4 strategies relevant. So that is why important in today's meeting. Electricity generation. Around 60% of our carbon emission is related with electricity generation in Hong Kong. Over the past few years, we have been switching progressively from the use of coal to lower carbon natural gas, and in the years to come, we will be switching from more to renewable and low carbon and actually zero carbon energy. Apart from developing regional collaboration to ride on the green transition of the Greater Bay Area, we are also developing local solutions for low carbon energy. So in the policy address just announced by the CE a few days ago, the government will develop a strategy for the development of hydrogen application in Hong Kong. And we hope that with this strategy, we will be partnering with the local industry to explore and adopt the kind of net zero energy in Hong Kong. So for the construction industry, we noticed that over the years, they have been switching to, for example, to more green practice. For example, the adoption of electrification system in site construction, and also in the adoption of more renewable energy in construction sites, such as PV and biodiesels. And looking ahead, we hope that the industry can ride on the kind of government support to develop more solutions for zero energy in site preparation and site construction. This is the hot topic today, energy saving and green building. So many of these measures were mentioned by speakers before, and I will not go into details of it, but I would like to highlight that the second bullet point on the 2024, which is another green measures and other policy measures announced in the recent policy address, is the progressive extension of carbon audit practice into public infrastructures, more than building, into structures. And this is the kind of initiative the government is trying to take the lead in the adoption of carbon management, more sustainable carbon management in our operation. The red arrows below is just showing the kind of commitment and target we are trying to achieve before 2050. And for the building industry, we see that there are lots of effort in the adoption of natural-based and energy-saving design nowadays. And we believe that this is very important in bringing down the carbon emission of the industry. And we also note that there are more frequent adoption of smart energy management to reduce the operational stage carbon of buildings. Green transport. You know that Hong Kong has been very aggressive in terms of promoting electric vehicle over the past few years, and I'm more happy to share with you that in just this year, in the first half of this year, more than 6 out of 10 newly registered vehicles in Hong Kong were EV. And in the years to come, we will shift the focus to the electrification of public transport and commercial vehicle. And by 2035, we will be ceased the new registration of fuel-propelled or hybrid vehicle, private vehicle. Waste reduction. Waste accounts for about 8% of the carbon footprint in Hong Kong. And in the coming year, 2024, we will be implementing municipal solid waste charging with a view to provide an incentive for everybody to minimize the amount of waste and those the reliance on landfill. In the years to come, we will be seeing more waste-to-energy facilities, including the OPAC 2, as well as the first waste-to-energy facilities for municipal solid waste in the territory. We hope that we could stop relying on landfill by 2035. Over the years, we have been paying attention and focus in developing the resilience of our city, and also to take measures to adapt to the climate change environment. We have been improving our drainage infrastructure. We have been implementing landslide prevention program. We have been preparing emergency response plan in Hong Kong, and all these are contributed to the resilience of the city. In the years to come, we expect more collaboration between the government and the private sector in developing a resilient city in Hong Kong. Climate change not only brings constraints and risks, it also brings opportunity to the sector. In the coming 15 to 20 years, the government is expected to invest more than $240 billion in climate mitigation and adaptation measures. And with the kind of development in green technologies and green finance, we expect that the industry will meet with helping hands in this area in the carbon neutrality journey. Time is up for me. Time is also up for the group in combating climate change. In the years to come, we need to have more collaboration, more innovation, and more collective action in taking forward the carbon neutrality target. And I hope that with the support of the industry, we will be having more innovation and we will be having more commitments. And the Climate Office we established earlier this year is glad to have more collaboration with the industry. Thank you.